The UN earlier welcomed the relocation of hundreds of its staff and dependents from Khartoum and other locations, establishing a hub in Port Sudan where a team of UN staff is expected to oversee its political and humanitarian operations in the country, as the Secretary-General lamented the worsening situation.
Since the start of fighting on 15 April, hundreds of people have been killed and thousands injured. The violence must stop. It risks a catastrophic conflagration within Sudan that could engulf the whole region and beyond. I strongly condemn the indiscriminate bombardment of civilian areas, including healthcare facilities. And I call on the parties to stop combat operations in densely populated areas and to allow unhindered humanitarian aid operations.
His appeal last Thursday for a 3-day ceasefire to mark the end of Ramadan falling on deaf ears amid a worsening humanitarian crisis as tens of thousands now flee the country into equally fragile neighbouring states.
Civilians must be able to access food, water and other essential supplies and evacuate from combat zones. I am in constant contact with the parties to the conflict, and I've called on them to de-escalate tensions and to return to the negotiating table. We will continue our efforts with our partners to secure a permanent halt to the fighting as soon as possible. Working with humanitarian organizations on the ground, we are reconfiguring our presence in Sudan to enable us to continue supporting the Sudanese people. Let me be clear, the United Nations is not leaving Sudan. Our commitment is to the Sudanese people in support of their wishes for a peaceful and secure future.
Ahead of a Security Council meeting Tuesday on Sudan, he called on Council members to exert pressure on the parties to restore order and a return to a democratic transition.
I call on all Council members to exert maximum leverage with the parties to end the violence, restore order and return to the path of the democratic transition. We must all do everything within our power to pull Sudan back from the edge of the abyss.
The United States and other governments acting swiftly over the weekend to evacuate diplomatic staff from the country,
raising questions about what happens to the millions left behind amid faltering diplomatic efforts that have failed to manifest consensus among the warring parties. And as foreign nations swoop in to evacuate their diplomats and citizens, the message it sends is that of a country on the brink of chaos and collapse, where security is no longer predictable or guaranteed. A chilling thought for the Sudanese, who have limited options to save themselves. Shervin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.